The Boston Tea Party was a political protest that took place on December 16, 1773, in Boston, Massachusetts. It was a pivotal event in the lead-up to the American Revolution, 1775 to 1783, and symbolized colonial resistance to British rule. The protest was organized by the Sons of Liberty, a group of American patriots, in response to the British government's taxation policies, particularly the Tea Act of 1773. Background: why did the Boston Tea Party happen? The Tea Act of 1773 was passed by the British Parliament to save the struggling British East India Company by allowing it to sell tea directly to the American colonies without paying extra taxes. This gave the company a monopoly, undercutting colonial merchants and reinforcing Britain's authority over colonial trade. However, many American colonists viewed the Tea Act as another example of taxation without representation, a policy they fiercely opposed. They believed they should not be taxed by a government in which they had no elected representatives. The act revived tensions that had been growing since earlier British taxes, such as the Stamp Act, 1765, and Townshend Acts, 1767. The protest: how did the Boston Tea Party unfold? On the night of December 16, 1773, a group of about 100 members of the Sons of Liberty, disguised as Mohawk Indians, boarded 3 British ships, the Dartmouth, Eleanor, and Beaver, docked in Boston Harbor. In a coordinated act of defiance, they dumped 342 chests of British tea, worth roughly $1 million in today's money, into the harbor. The event lasted about 3 hours and was carried out without violence or destruction of other property. Though the British East India Company suffered heavy financial losses, the act was meant to send a political message rather than cause economic harm. It was a bold declaration that the American colonies would not accept unjust taxation and British interference in their affairs. Consequences: the British response and colonial reactions. The British government reacted harshly to the Boston Tea Party, viewing it as an act of open rebellion. In 1774, Parliament passed the Coercive Acts, also called the Intolerable Acts, to punish Massachusetts. These laws closed Boston Harbor until the lost tea was paid for, dissolved Massachusetts self-government, putting the colony under stricter British control, allowed British troops to be quartered in colonial homes, increasing tensions between soldiers and civilians. Instead of isolating Massachusetts, these harsh measures united the American colonies against British rule. The First Continental Congress, 1774, was convened to coordinate a response, and growing resistance eventually led to the outbreak of the American Revolution in 1775. Significance of the Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party was a turning point in American history. It demonstrated the colonies' willingness to resist British oppression and became an iconic moment of defiance. The event inspired future acts of rebellion, leading directly to the War for American Independence. Today, the Boston Tea Party remains a powerful symbol of protest against unfair government policies, reflecting the core American ideals of freedom, self-governance, and resistance to tyranny.